I built this truck for a post-apocalyptic game, but I've been thinking a lot about car combat lately, and I think we need a few more cars to really make the scene. So let's cut out a few and add to the collection and build out our fleet of post-apocalyptic combat rigs. And once all of that's done, what we're left with is our original semi-truck along with a flatbed. We have a sedan for all those hot rod racers, a Jeep for any off-road vehicle needs, which I mean, in the waste, everything is off-road. We have an armored van, a collection of motorcycles, because you definitely need some motorcycles running around, and we have a battle bus. Now you can see I've already added a bunch of post-apocalyptic attachments, this Mad Max style spikes and armor, and this is one of my favorite parts of post-apocalyptic and these vehicle terrains is being able to customize these with relative ease of just gluing and adding on attachments whatever you need. And so let's add on a few attachments to each of these vehicles. Whenever you're adding these attachments, the fun part is you can take the attachments and fold them up and make them into more 3D elements. Just glue the tabs down. You could add them to corners or around sides to really add into the scene. Or maybe you could even just cut them up and just glue them directly on. So I'm grabbing a pair of scissors here and just cutting off this fuel tank so that I can just glue the back and just glue it straight onto the side and just make it more of a artistic element rather than a 3D element to the scene, and just making each car custom and its unique rig, which is part of the fun of this post-apocalyptic style. Your players can create their own cars, they can deck them out, you can create new attachments, add things on, tear things off, break them, smash them, do whatever you need. For example, what I'm doing here is I'm getting my X-Acto knife and just cutting a slit into the car itself so that I can slide in a engine block through the hood and down and glue it on the bottom side of the car rather than having the tabs sitting up and over the hood. Both options are great. Just gluing the tabs directly onto the vehicle is super fast, but if you want to have a little bit more flexibility or detail, you can definitely cut into it and customize it however you want. So let's sit back and just watch as I customize each of these cars and try to be thinking about how would you deck out your combat rig? What attachments would you add? What kind of things would you draw on the templates and build into your cars? Or what do you think your players would want to add to their rig? And with that final set of spikes, I think we're ready. I think our combat rigs are decked out and ready for some high octane action out in the waste. And speaking of the waste, as I was building these cars, I did have the Waste is Not Kind in mind. Now, the Waste is Not Kind is a post-apocalyptic toolkit for index card RPG made by Epic Sloth Games, and I love how they handle car combat. Rather than putting the spotlight on the cars and developing a bunch of specific mechanics, they keep the spotlight on the players. So the cars become more like islands. If we have our vehicles out on the waste and our characters are in the back and a bunch of bandits drive up, the players don't transition into this car combat mode, it just continues on. The players jump from car to car, they try to interact and fight along top, they're trying to avoid falling down, they can jump and move wherever they want, and they continue driving without making a bunch of checks. The spotlight is on the players, and the high octane action maintains itself because we focus on what players are doing as they fight from motorcycle to car, they jump across the bridge, they do whatever it needs. It's a ton of fun, and it's just an absolute blast. I highly recommend that you check it out. It's a great way of handling car combat.